You know, for a movie that's recommended to you at 95%, you would at least think that it's pretty good, right? Welcome back, guys. I just watched a movie called Tao. It is a Netflix original that just came out not so long ago. And like I said, it was recommended to me by Netflix at 95%. And when I read the description of the movie, I was pretty interested in it because it's about this woman who is kept captive by some scientist. He's doing some weird, secret, mysterious experiments which kind of stay mysterious to the very end. And at the same time, it's run by this smart house that has an AI by the name of Tao. And as far as an AI goes, he doesn't know much. Basically, he doesn't really know much about the outside world because he can still cook, he can kill people, and he can do, I guess, chores basically. So okay, 95% recommended. I would think that a movie that is recommended to me, especially by Netflix, is going to be pretty good at that high of a percentage because I've seen a lot of Netflix originals before, and so far I've been very happy with the originals that I've seen. Maybe I haven't seen any bad ones, but if I'm being brutally honest, and I'm pretty sure not a lot of people are going to agree with me, but the opening act or like the first 20 minutes of this movie, I was just not on board with it because it was pretty boring, and honestly the CGI took me out of the film a whole lot. Although I'll get into that in a little bit later, but to me the opening sequences to this movie was pretty bad because in a way it kind of reminded me of Blade Runner, the vibe they were going with, but then out of nowhere we are introduced into the smart house, which looks pretty cool, to be honest. It's badass. I wish I would have a house like that. Obviously I'm not a millionaire, or in this case he's a billionaire, but at the same time it kind of doesn't make sense. You don't really understand what the hell was going on. They obviously don't do a great job of explaining, but at the same time Julia's opening scene is basically just a setup to her getting out of her own jail cell, which that was basically it. At the same time we have Genius, or Scientist in this case, that's supposed to be very mysterious and you're not supposed to really know what he's supposed to be up to. Alex in this case is none of that. I couldn't get behind this character even up to the very end. There was nothing redeemable about him, and honestly the movie could have done without him in the film, which sounds bad, but the movie actually starts to pick up some pace whenever she is finally like not apprehended, like she's like left alone to roam the house, and she starts beginning to talk to Tao, who is the AI in the house. And surprisingly, Gary Oldman voices him, which I couldn't tell, but now that I know that he's behind the voice, I can kind of see it. But at the same time, Tao has a pretty soothing voice. I liked his voice, but at the same time we figure out that Tao doesn't really know what the outside world is. That make it interesting. That's what made this movie kind of interesting for me, is that the fact that, you know, Julia is trying to befriend this AI to let her, you know, escape, basically explaining to him that whatever Alex is doing to her is pretty messed up. Now, as far as the experiments that Alex is doing on these people, we really don't know what the hell is going on. He has like this super crazy robot, Ares I believe it's called. They kind of reminded me of the Robocop cop because the CGI kind of reminded me of it, and it's basically a killing machine. It just sticks out like a sore thumb. Same thing with the drones. They just look like somebody edited it on Photoshop or something. I don't know how the editing was done, but to me it stuck out like a sore thumb and it just wasn't pleasing to the eye. The pacing of the movie to me, like I said, it starts off very slow, then it gets very interesting down the line when we start introducing her, Tao, and she starts teaching him a lot of things, and I like that. I like that interaction between the two because when it's only them two, I was so into it, but then whenever Alex would come back, he would start getting on these conference calls that basically they start telling him that, you know, his project needs to be done soon, and he keeps telling them that it's only 95% done, which is kind of ironic since Netflix recommended me this movie at 95%. But I feel like if the movie would have been mostly about Julia and Tao interacting the whole time, I think it would have been fine, and I think this movie would have been even better. But I feel like the premise of it was very interesting. The only thing is that it wasn't executed so well. Like, I feel like the acting itself and like the script that they were giving wasn't so great. At the same time, the way that the movie is described, it's like saying that she's trying to hack the system, but in reality she's not really hacking, she's just kind of talking to someone. But I honestly think there is an audience for this type of film. I just don't think it hit me the way I wanted it to, especially because of the way it started. It just started off pretty weak. Like I said, towards the middle it was pretty great. I like the interactions. Towards the end, again, it just kind of falls apart because it just gets very predictive. So the ending to me was like, oh, you know, it was kind of nice, but at the same time it's like Alex to me just kind of like doesn't play a major role in this movie, even though he's the man behind the creation of Tao. So with that said, guys, those are my thoughts on this movie. I mean, I don't know if you guys enjoyed it. Please let me know down below in the comments because I want to know what you liked. Like I said, my favorite thing about this movie was the interaction between Julia and Tao, but that was mainly it. Everything else for me just did not go well. I think it was poorly executed, and the premise itself was interesting, but it wasn't done so well. I have seen reviews where people are praising it, and I can see their points. I just can't get behind it. So I'm gonna give Tao, that's on Netflix, a 2.5 out of 5. But with that said, guys, follow me on Twitter at fmo1126. If you guys haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. Just hit the bell for notifications. Give this video a big thumbs up so it can help me out. And as always, guys, stay tuned.